Thrown out for being foolish, young Leo was left kneeling on the cold pavement while his wealthy parents, the Harringtons, shut the gates behind him. The only one who refused to walk away was Mrs. Elena, the family's old housekeeper, who quit her job and took him in with nothing but her faith and sacrifice. Years later, Leo rose from the shadows, building a tech empire that stunned the world. And when his parents tried to claim his success as their plan all along, he turned the spotlight to someone else. The one person who had never given up on him. Before we go any further, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring you even more powerful stories. Stick with us till the very end. And if the story moves you, drop your thoughts in the comments and share it with a friend. Now, let's begin. The house smelled of lemon cleaner and money. Glass tables were wiped to a shine. Knives were lined up like little silver soldiers. At the end of the island, a small boy traced circles on the cold countertop, slow, careful, as if neat lines might unlock whatever the adults wanted from him. His father, Mr. Harrington, worked his jaw while reading another report. His mother, Mrs. Harrington, pressed a napkin flat, then flatter, as if wrinkles were a personal insult. No yelling, not here. Just that heavy silence where you could hear the clock breathing. Weeks had looked like this. Evaluations, flashcards, timers, a tutor who spoke in bullet points. Letters didn't land for him the way they should. Numbers slid around like fish. He tried. You could see it in the way his shoulders bunched when someone said, "Focus." In the way he held his breath to keep the world still. The old housekeeper watched all of it, stirring a pot that smelled like thyme and kindness, the steam fogging her glasses. She kept finding small, steady ways to help, a slower rhythm, a hand over his hand, a story that turned problems into shapes he could touch. The breaking point came on a Tuesday, the kind that looks polite on a calendar. His father stacked the papers. His mother smiled the tight smile she wore for guests. "It's not working," she said, more to the granite than to the boy. A bag appeared at the door, containing socks, a sweater that still held the dryer's heat, and a toy with a cracked wing. The door opened, and night air slid in cool and thin. The boy's shoes paused at the threshold, then stepped out, because what else do you do when the floor moves under you? Outside, the street hummed and sprinklers ticked. A car rolled past, its bass thumping. Two neighbors lingered near their mailbox. "Did you hear?" "No way." A jogger tossed a soft, "What's up?" without slowing, eyes flicking away. The boy sat on the curb with the bag tucked to his ribs. He touched the cracked wing like maybe it would heal if he was gentle enough. Inside, Mrs. Elena's hands trembled against the counter. She had asked for patience, not pity, not a speech, just the truth she'd learned raising other people's miracles. Growth isn't a race, and storms don't care about your image. The answer came back sharp and clean. "No, not today. Maybe another strategy. Maybe a school. Not here." She untied her apron like it was a bandage coming off a wound. Keys on the dish, shoes on, back straight. Outside, she knelt to the boy's height, tucking her scarf around his neck, the wool carrying the warm, peppery scent of her cooking. No grand promises, just presents. She lifted the bag, squeezed his small fingers, and stood with him. From behind the curtains, silhouettes shifted. A whisper, "They'll regret this." Another, "Or maybe it's for the best." Streetlights cast their long, amber ladders across the pavement. They stepped into that light together, slow, steady, shoulder to shoulder. The door clicked shut behind them, soft as a secret. And whether the Harringtons knew it or not, the story had already changed hands. The new place didn't smell like lemon cleaner. It smelled like damp carpet, fried onions from a neighbor's pan, and sometimes cigarettes sneaking through the vents. The walls were thin, the kind where you could hear somebody arguing about rent while laughing at a late-night TV show. But in that small space, the boy found something richer than marble countertops. He found a presence that never wavered. The old housekeeper, Mrs. Elena, that's what everyone called her, took the couch for herself and gave him the one bed. The spring squeaked, but he slept easier than he had in months. She taped his drawings to the wall. even the ones with backwards letters. "It ain't supposed to be perfect," she said, her voice raspy but warm. "It's supposed to be yours." Days stretched long. She worked double shifts cleaning offices, her shoes carrying dust home every night. He'd wait for her at the window, chin on the sill, counting headlights until the door finally groaned open. She'd drop her bag, peel off her gloves, and still sit with him over homework. Her eyes sagged, but she refused to let him sink into the labels others stuck on his back. When he stumbled, she didn't scold. She nudged. "Slow down, baby." Letters got their own rhythm like drums. "Let's find the beat." People in the building noticed. Two teenagers leaning against the stair rail whispered, "That's the kid they tossed out, right?" One smirked. Parents probably had enough. But another voice, softer, almost ashamed, added, "Lady's still sticking with him, though. That's love." The boy heard pieces of it drifting up the stairwell, words clinging to him like lint. Sometimes he wanted to disappear. Other times he wanted to prove them all wrong. Evenings when the air was heavy and hot, Mrs. Elena would crack the window and tell him stories from her own childhood, stories of walking dirt roads barefoot, of teachers who told her she'd never be more than a maid. She'd pause, rub the crease between her brows, then look him square in the eye. "They don't get to decide. Neither do your parents. You hear me? You decide." He nodded, gripping his pencil like it was a sword. The boy learned discipline not from punishment, but from watching her sacrifice. She skipped meals so he wouldn't. She pawned her old wedding band to buy him a used laptop with a missing key. "It still types," she said, shrugging, though her eyes glistened under the lamplight. He sat up late, the hum of the screen filling the silence, tracing codes and shapes like new languages. Every keystroke became a promise. "I'll make this count." And in those cramped rooms with peeling paint and buzzing lights, the foundation was laid, not of wealth or privilege, but of resilience, the kind that doesn't vanish when the world sneers. The kind built in shadows, waiting for the right time to step into the sun. The laptop's fan wheezed like an old man's breath, keys half stuck, screen flickering when the plug slipped, but to him it was a doorway. He'd sit cross-legged on the floor, fingers tapping out clumsy code, while Mrs. Elena played gospel in the kitchen, her voice blending with the softness of boiling rice. Nights blurred into mornings. Sometimes he'd doze off with the glow of the monitor painting his face, code still scrolling like a heartbeat. It wasn't instant brilliance. His first projects crashed, froze, or simply refused to run. Frustration made him grip his hair, mutter curses under his breath. More than once, he slammed the lid shut. But Mrs. Elena would step in, quiet as ever, sliding a plate beside him. "Eat, then try again. Nothing worth keeping comes easy." Her calm made failure feel less like an ending and more like a stepping stone. Word of his obsession spread in the building. Neighbors gossiped in the stairwell. "Kid's always in there with that busted laptop. Probably wasting time," but another voice added, "Funny thing, he's teaching himself what most pay thousands for." Years stacked quietly. He grew taller, leaner, sharper. Every setback taught him a shortcut. Every small success lit another fuse inside. By 19, he wasn't just typing lines of code. He was crafting tools, tiny apps that solved real problems. First for neighbors, a rent tracking app for the landlord, a budget calculator for a single mom 2 doors down. Soon, strangers online noticed. Downloads trickled in, then poured. His inbox became a storm. When his first investor call came, Mrs. Elena sat right beside him, her hands folded, whispering prayers as he pitched with a cracked voice but steady eyes. The man on the other end chuckled, impressed by the audacity. A small check arrived, then another. With every deposit, their lives shifted. Better meals, a sturdier desk, new shoes for Mrs. Elena, a second-hand car that coughed but carried them places buses never could. By his mid-20s, the boy the world dismissed was now a name in tech circles. Headlines whispered, "Young founder disrupts industry." Articles painted him as a genius, but he never forgot the nights of hunger, the lamp that buzzed overhead, Mrs. Elena's weary hands guiding him through pages of math she barely understood herself. She became the silent figure at his launches, gray hair tucked under a scarf, eyes brimming with pride while cameras flashed around him. And through all the applause, he carried a single thought. I wasn't raised by the ones who birthed me. I was built by the one who stayed. 12 years. That's how long it had been since the door clicked shut on him. 12 years since the curbside tears and the cracked toy. Now he stood beneath stage lights, a microphone clipped to his collar, screens behind him glowing with the logo of the company he built from nothing. The air buzzed with reporters, investors, and curious onlookers. His name had become a brand, his story whispered as a rise against all odds. In the crowd, camera flashes flickered like stars, and among the polished faces and tailored suits, two figures emerged, his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Harrington, older, their lines deeper, their clothes still crisp with the quiet arrogance of wealth. They walked with the ease of people who had never been denied a seat at any table. Whispers spread like static. Wait, are those his folks? They said they cut him off. Guess they're proud now. Backstage, Mrs. Elena had sensed their arrival before he did. She tightened her shawl around her shoulders, her lips pressed thin. She had always known this day might come, but not how it would sting. After a speech about innovation, about building tools that gave power to the overlooked, they stepped forward, smiling as if no wound had ever been dealt. His mother's voice, smooth as glass, floated into the mic. We only pushed you away to make you stronger. We knew you had greatness in you all along. His father nodded, clapping him on the back as though they'd just won something together. The crowd clapped politely, some buying into the performance, but others leaned closer, murmuring, "Didn't they throw him out?" Now they're claiming it was a strategy. He stood still, hands clasped loosely before him. Inside, his chest thudded, not with rage, but with the weight of choice. The boy they abandoned wanted to scream. The man he had become chose something else. He looked out at the sea of expectant eyes, felt Mrs. Elena's gaze steady as an anchor from the side of the stage, and let silence stretch until it hummed louder than applause. The moment had come, not for revenge, but for truth. The silence pressed heavy. Cameras clicked. A cough echoed. Someone whispered, "What's he waiting for?" He finally lifted the mic, his voice calm but carrying weight. "My parents claimed they made me strong." He paused, letting the words settle, then shook his head. "No, the truth is they broke me. They left me on a sidewalk when I was just a boy. And if I had stayed broken, I wouldn't be standing here." He turned, extending a hand toward the wings. Mrs. Elena stepped forward slowly, her shawl wrapped tight, her step steady but modest. Gasps rippled through the hall. He raised her hand high. This is my real mom. She's the one who picked me up when I was nothing, who worked, starved, prayed, and believed when nobody else did. Every success I have, every invention, every headline, it belongs to her." The audience erupted, clapping, some even standing. His parents' faces drained of color, caught in the glare of a truth they could no longer twist. Mrs. Elena's eyes glistened, her hand trembling in his, but her smile lit the room. "Sometimes family isn't blood," she said. "Sometimes it's the one who refuses to let you go." And in that moment, Leo proved something greater than wealth or titles. Family isn't the ones who share your name. It's the ones who never let you fall. So, if this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of resilience, betrayal, and redemption. And remember, sometimes the people the world overlooks are the ones who change it forever.